time to harvest, negotiate, and explore your way to victory in Circadians First Light. Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy, and I am so excited to be showing you Circadians First Light. I mean, look at everything that is this game. It looks amazing on the table. It looks like there is so much going on in this with all of the spaces in the middle, the many places that you can go, these player aids, these player boards. There is so much going on in this game, but it's not as complicated as it looks. So let me take you into the game. I'll show you what everything does, and then you get to decide if you'd like to back this on Kickstarter. Each round in Circadians has 4 steps. The first is a planning stage where everything is going to happen behind your player screen. You are going to allocate your dice and then reveal where you're going to go during your turn. It's pretty simple. What you do is you decide whether or not you want to put your dice into shuttles that will go across the planet to either harvest or negotiate, or you get to use your dice to harvest and get more resources at the end of the round. Once everyone has decided where they want their dice to go, they reveal them, and then in turn order, they go across the board doing different actions. I'm not going to give you all the intricate details of what each one of these locations do, but I want to give you an idea of where your dice can go on the board. The first location is the control room, and this is how you move around the planet. And this is really important because at the end of a round, wherever your harvester ends up is the amount of resources that you're going to get. So depending on what value is rolled on your die, depends on which tells you which direction you're going to go. Next up is the laboratory and the foundry. This is where you are either going to be upgrading your shuttles or upgrading your farms. And so at the laboratory, you have to spend 2 dice that are the same exact number, and then you get to pick one of these 3 upgrades to your farm. You get to spend either 3 algae or 10 water, and then you're going to add this to your board, and in a later round you get to use it. It's kind of the same thing with the foundry, but this is where you're going to get a new shuttle. So you place your dice, and depending on what value you choose is which one of these 3 stacks of shuttles you can choose from. You discard either 2 energy or 10 water, and you get to place that shuttle onto your board. This is going to do one of 2 things. It's either going to help you during the game, or it's going to give you victory points at the end of the game, and so you choose wisely. This last location here is called the Academy, and this is where you go to get more dice. And at the beginning of the game, you start with 3 dice, but there are 13 total dice in the game, but you can only use 5 at a time. So why would you need to get additional dice? Well, that's because there are certain locations on the board that when you place a die there, it does not come back to you. So the Academy becomes pretty important because if you want to score endgame victory points, or if you like to build these equipment cards, you're going to be losing dice. And so you'll find yourself at the Academy getting new dice. On this side of the board are the locations that have to do with the resources that you get in the game. The market is an exchange. It's a typical market. I come here, I turn in 1 gem, and I'm going to get 4 algae. The value on your die tells you how many times you can spend or do that rotation. So if I had a 5 on my die and I had 5 gems, I could get 20 algae in return. And so there are 3 different locations. If someone beats you to a location you wanted, too bad, I guess. And then the last place is the mining camp. And this is where you go to get these precious red gems. And so you go here and you pay an amount based off of the die value that you've rolled. And so if I have a 6 and I make it here to the 1 gem, it's not going to cost me anything. But if I have to go to the 3rd spot, it costs 16 water minus my die value. It could be pretty pricey to come up with a red gem. So that's all the main locations that you can go to at the top, and that all has to do with either getting farms or ships or getting more gems or moving your harvester. But what do you do with all of these resources that you have gathered on your turn? You're going to now go and negotiate with the locals. And so you get to go to 3 different races, and they all want something completely different. So you could go to the race that wants to get the algae. And so you would go to this location with a die value, and you turn in a certain amount of algae, and you're going to score endgame victory points. But a couple things happen at the negotiation board. The first thing is you're going to be leaving this die there. It's never coming back to you. The second thing is you're going to get an advancement or a setback. And I really like this feature. If you're the first person to go with a number 2 die, then you get to move this marker over and you're going to gain a reward. But as the game progresses and more dice get placed here, the higher the values go, and now you might face a setback. And that's the same kind of thing. You're going to move one of these tokens to the other side, but now you have to pay a penalty. And these rewards and penalties are all about the same. In fact, they are the same exact things. You're either going to lose a farm, lose a shuttle, lose a die, lose equipment cards, or you could be gaining those things as well. And so you're going to be moving those tokens over, and you might have to keep track of where things are to know whether you're going to get a setback or an advancement or both. And then on this side of the board is another location where you could be losing dice. There are equipment cards in the game that are extremely valuable. These equipment cards are going to give you in-game abilities. Maybe it costs you less resources in the game, or it could give you end-game points where it says you get 2 points for every die that you have, or 2 points for this, or 2 points for that. And so these equipment cards become extremely valuable in the game. But to build these cards, not only do you need precious resources, but you also have to leave behind a die to do it. And there's a really cool grid that's out here that when you leave the die, you get to build the card and you're going to get some kind of a bonus, whether that's moving your harvester, getting a free die, or getting more of these equipment cards. And the last space that you can go to on the board is a way for you to bypass turn order. Now, turn order is really important in this game because the first phase of the game, you're going to spend your time planning out where you want to go. The second phase is when you actually go and do it. And you'll find out that some of your best laid plans can be totally destroyed because someone simply went to the market before you could get there. So the headquarters is a way for you to ensure that no one is going to mess up your plans. So in a previous round, if you place a die there, now you get to go first in the next round, or second or third. And so this can kind of ensure that you're going to get to do the thing that you need to do to accomplish your goals. Now, there's lots of other things that I could have talked about, but I missed. You have character cards that give you special abilities during the game. There's a solo version of the game that I really enjoyed, and I've come to appreciate these in the recent year where I've been able to play my game solo as well as with other people. And so you can tell that they put a lot into this game. Now, who is going to love this game? The people that are going to love this game are those that love resource management exchange type games where you get resources, you transform them, you get these things that give you abilities to score victory points. Those are the people that are going to love Circadians. Now, the complicated part is, like I said, making plans and then seeing how that plays out. So you have to be adaptive as the game progresses. If someone goes somewhere that you wanted to go, maybe you put that off for a round and you do something else instead. It's definitely a race to negotiate to get end-game victory points, and you cannot neglect, whatever you do, you cannot neglect these equipment cards because there are a ton of points to be gained from those. So those are the people that are going to love this game, or the people that like doing all of those things. There's also victory points that can be gained by upgrading all of your farms, upgrading all of your ships. There's just a lot of different ways to score victory points in this game. And so I know that there are a ton of people that are going to love that aspect of it. So with all of that said, go to the Kickstarter campaign and check it out, because everything that I have is just a prototype, and I know that they have updated images, and I think some of the artwork has changed, and some of these bits and pieces are definitely upgraded in the final product. But anyways, go online and check that out. And the last thing that I wanted to say is, if you decide to back this campaign, please comment below and tell me that you did. I would just love to find out that there are people that have watched this video, appreciated it, and went and backed the campaign. It would just mean the world to me. So with all of that said, I know I've talked a lot. I hope that you have gotten a good overview of the game, and let me know if you end up backing it. Thanks for watching the Board Game Closet. We'll see you next time.